Hey guys, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing good and hoffing and globling. I've gotten a lot of requests for this, and a couple people said, don't put it up because it's really an insider's look on mining basically. I'm going to show you guys how I track and keep and record my losses and claims and stuff like that. I don't use what is it, Little Big Mining Blog or whatever the program is or website is that records the records your finds and stuff. There's just something I don't like about downloading something and putting it on your computer that records your actions, whether it be in game or out of game. I just don't believe in it. So you guys are free to use it. It looks like a decent program, but I just keep records of the stuff myself, and there's stuff that should be shared and there is information that should not be shared. And what I'm going to share with you guys right now is basically how I go about profiting, I guess you could say, in Entropia. This is kind of been long in the making. I've told you guys bits and pieces over the last 40 episodes with Mining with Big Menace, and this is the coup de grace basically of mining and how you become successful at it. So the first thing is the timing. Is the timing right? Is the Entropia tracker, is that thing lit up green or is it red? Sometimes it doesn't even matter, guys. You have to go out and you have to look at different areas in the game to see which one is hitting. Okay? And that goes into area. Time and area are basically synonymous. There's areas, and you guys seen it in my videos, and people will strongly disagree with me on this fact, and I think that's why some people lose and some people win. There's areas that will produce, and there's areas that won't produce at the same time. And that being said, I strongly believe that there are ores that will produce and ores that won't produce, or end matters, or whatever you're mining, at the same time. You could take a look at the tracker. Sometimes Caldorite is hitting FOMA hard, and you'll see Hoffs and Globals and everything else on Caldorite that day. And then you won't get anything on Azure Pearls or Solace or Iron. So take a look at the tracker, see what's globaling, see what area is globaling. Obviously, FOMA is the largest producer of ores and end matters in the game right now. There's a reason behind that. It's because the claim sizes are bigger. People amp up there. People also lose a ton of pet up there. I'll explain that later. So time is synonymous with area. You guys have seen me do it in previous videos. I'll go, if one area is not hitting, I will immediately stop mining that area and move on to another area. And chances are 50-60% of the time that next area will hit better, or it'll hit the same. But most of the times I found out that that area will hit better. If that area doesn't hit better, then move on to the next. You know, I go as little as dropping 10 bombs before I figure out what's going to happen in that area. Alright? I will sometimes, if I see, like I said before, if I see Caldorites hoffing or globaling, I will sometimes mine an area that has the Caldorite. That's what you should basically do. Not saying Caldorite's a good ore. I'm using it as an example. You got to make your own set of rules on what looks good and what doesn't look good. So the markup of the area is next. Let's just go over something right here. Markup is king. Markup is pure and honest king in this game. Markup is the end all and be all of everything in this game. If you don't have markup, you're not doing what you should be doing. Let me just get set back up here. Of course, I had to play around with it, but alright. So markup is everything. There's websites out there that show where you can mine, such as Miners Mafia. Google Miners Mafia. They have a thing called the touristic guide. It explains what market or what ores are where, and it's obviously up to you to figure out where to mine from there. Um, hit rate is another thing, and claim size. Like I said before, if the hit rate's not good, if I'm not hitting 50-60% of the time, if I'm only hitting like 10 or 20% of the time, I'm not gonna mine. Either I'll change areas or I'll log off. Save that ped for another time. And that's where patience comes in. Patience as a miner, you have to have patience, okay? There's times when you're not going to mine. There's times when I don't mine 12 hours out of the day, and then I'll hit it hard for 3 or 4 hours. And that being said, you do have to invest a lot of time in the game. You do have to see what's mining, which area is hot, which area is not. Sometimes, guys, I could go a day or 2 days without globaling or hoffing. Sometimes it could be as long as 3 or 4. I've had a really bad week last week where I didn't huff in about, I don't know, maybe a dozen amps, or I didn't even global in like about a dozen amps. It was really rough. Um, so your hit rate has to be good, and your claim size. You'll know your good area when your claim size is elevated. And how do you know it's elevated? Well, that's the time invested in game. You have to have the experience and the actual skill yourself, not your avatar skill, to put into the game. I mean, you have to learn, am I hitting tinies? Do I want to hit tinies on amp? No, you don't. You want to hit smalls on amps. Is it elevated from tiny? It certainly is. When I'm mining with a level 5 amp, I want to see amples. If I see considerable sizables and larges, well, then I'm going to stick around that area. I'm going to mine the shit out of it. If I'm seeing pores on a level 5 amp, then I won't stay. I'll drop a couple more bombs, see if it helps out, but I won't stay. For a level 5 amp, I like to see average and medium as basically an average claim. All right, so that's claim size. So elevated claim size, a decent hit rate, and a high markup ore, and that's your success right there. All right, people ask me about float. And what float is the amount of money that you can afford to mine before you're completely broke. A lot of people ask me about FOMA and Hell, and I think you guys could do it with about 5K ped on your car. It's $500. Preferably, you should probably have double that, especially for FOMA, because there's so many miners there. There's so much competition there. You should probably have double that. Hell, I've mined in Hell a lot. It helps to have probably a little bit more. I would say 5K as a starting point. You probably do all right in Hell with 5K, provided that you guys stick with a high hit rate and a decent claim size. All right, and then planet side, if you guys are going ampless on the planet side, you could probably do it less. You could probably do it in a thousand ped. If you're going with an amp, I would say 2,000 ped float, and you could probably do this with that. A little bit, obviously, a little bit more helps every time. Sometimes you guys are gonna get stuck in a rut, and it all goes back to again area and the time. Okay, so let's talk about your return. Your return on your ped card should be 90%. All right. It's basically, it's been stated on Planet Calypso forum. There's a couple of high-level miners that have done runs on this, and they basically came out. The theory being that you get 90%, and I could pretty much go for that. I think it's maybe just a little bit less, but 90% is a good base. So on a level 5 amp right here, you spend double dropping, mine ores and matter. You spend 73.5 ped worth of bombs, right? The amp itself costs 200 ped, but you get a 4 ped kickback from the TT. You have to sell it at the end, so you spend 196. All right, there's 20 peds in amp markup. Now I believe that was based on 110%. Okay, that is based on 110%. A level 5 bought at 110%. You spend 20 ped markup. I put 3 ped decay for every amp. meaning the oil in the VTOL, the extractor, the finder cost, and most of the time, guys, it's not even close to 3%. Sometimes it doesn't even go above 1 ped. Okay, so I put 3 ped just to keep safe, basically. Okay, so your total cost is $292.50. That's almost $30 per run. Okay, you lose 23 ped right out of the gate. That means decay and amp markup. 23 ped, $2.30 ped is completely washed away. Alright, so if you base your 90% on the TT you spent, which is 196 and 7350, your average return on your run for that single amp should be 242 ped. Okay? Now, to be profitable or to have a break-even point on that level 5, because you did spend the 23 ped to get it, to buy it, you need to have a return of 121%. Average. In the long run, if you're using 110% level 5 amps, you need to average 121% return. Okay? Which is what? 293 basically ped. That's your break-even point, is 121%. So guys, if you're not averaging an extra 21%, you're losing. You are not profiting, you're losing, and that's it. Now, if you guys go ampless, if you go unamped, you mine unamped all the time, all you need to average is 112% to break even. Okay, that's just to break even. So anything over 112% ampless is basically ped in your pocket. This is over the long run. I'm talking over 1,000 drops. Obviously, if you guys don't have enough to invest for the long run and basically stick with mining or whatever else you're doing, then you're going to lose it in the short run. All right. Now, the theory of that is that the 90% is made up through globals and halves. Now, I believe the globals, yes, okay? Sure. You global, that's great. I don't believe that the larger halves are included in that 90%. And I don't believe it because of my own records. I've basically grown leaps and bounds on halves. Leaps and bounds. So, keep that in consideration when you're globaling. It seems to be a part of your 90% kickback. Okay, so now let's go back here. 121%. If you guys are in a tax area, generally most tax areas take 5% of your claim size. Okay, that's every claim that you get. It's 5%. Think about that. It can be a lot of money. Alright, now if that LA has an ore and N matter that is 130% or 135%, then by all means you should be mining that LA, because it's nothing, because they're taking 5% off the TT, not the 5% off 135%. If the LA has a lot of list or oil in it, then you should probably stay away from it. Alright? And this is why also traders are bad. Plain and simple. Traders are bad. They're really good for the economy in Entropia. You know, they move ores and everything else, and they buy it and they keep you going. I understand that, especially when you're on FOMA, but they'll take 5%. You know, they'll take 5 to 7% sometimes. And that's right off your entire take. So if you're trading, if you're mining in a tax area, you're losing. You're losing basically an extra 10%. All right, and that's why it's also important to have float. When you're mining up at FOMA and you're dropping amps and amps and amps, you could take that money, you could be there for quite a while, and then take your ped and go back to Calypso and sell the stuff on auction itself. Okay? You don't have to lose your 5% on your 5,000 ped. 250 ped. That's insane. That's 2 level 7 amps. You could hold that, go back and auction it, and you'll keep your money. That's where your profit is. Every little thing that takes a percent or two from you, you would be losing. Okay, so auction is a whole nother story, which I'm not going to get into on this episode. I may not get into it ever. It's basically the second part of being successful. Alright, so let's take a look at my runs here. Now I'm just going to show you Arcadia for the last couple of weeks because that's what the videos have been. And this is how I track my runs. Now just kind of ignore this section here. I was trying to figure something out at 88%. And here we have basically a week worth of runs right here several weeks ago in Arcadia. Now I keep Excel files for everything. Arcadia, Hell, Foma, and Calypso, and I haven't really mined Entropia itself that much, so I really haven't kept a sheet on that. So here we go. Basically, what I have here is the entire breakdown of what amp I use, my loop markup, my TT return amp markup, amp TT value bombs, and of course the 3 ped decay. Now obviously I had hit an enormous star particle there, so I had a lot more decay, yeah, so it breaks down. And right over here you could see that week 1 I profited 5,000 ped, week 2 2.8 ped, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see week 6 I lost 728 ped, and then of course week 8, which I haven't really gone through just yet, but it looks to be a profitable run. We can actually just add it up right now. 891 ped minus the run that I did last night. So it's going to be really good. So the last couple of weeks, 8,714 ped. Again, the markup, guys. Okay. I'm sure if I add this up, it's going to be 21% or over, or average it. Oops, I think I just changed that number. No. Of course, I could have done this before the video, but yeah, average 21%. So that's exactly where I want to be, for the most part. And you can see that I do get amps for a bit cheaper. 108.5. You know, I got lucky with the enormous star particle, which I don't think affected my 90%. I think this was just a bonus, because I was doing fine before this. I was actually in hell before this, and I was doing fine before that. So, all right. Now the next thing I want to show you is just in a quick example. This is a top 10 miner. I'm not going to say who because, well, I'm just not going to. All right. Look at what he's mining. Narc, Nixarium, Narc, Nixarium. Alright, he's hit up Lacerium here or there, which is not optimal, and Azurite, which is not optimal, but everything else, Gas, Cobalt, Narc. This guy, all he mines is this, probably 2 or 3 areas within the game. The Narc, and he's going high markup ores. That's all he's going for, high markup ores. And he does alright. And he is a top 10, 20 miner, and I'm sure he's doing just fine. So there you have it, guys. Alright, also people have asked me about depth, and I just want to say depth has little to do with claim sizes. Okay, you're going to find smalls, you're going to find tinies, and it's not going to help you find all-time highs, stuff like that. Alright, but depth does have an advantage of finding rare, higher markup ores and end matter. Xeramite, Langots, Ruggerites, what's the other stuff? Devil's Tail, stuff like that. Okay, guys. I hope this helped some of you. I hope everybody kind of understands what goes into really successful mining. It's more than just playing a game. It really is. It's breaking down calculations. It's getting your amps at the cheapest possible rate. It's selling your ores in in matters in a creative way on auction, which you guys are going to have to figure out yourself, to get the highest markup possible. And there is a couple tricks to it. I'll let you guys find that yourselves. Hey guys, if you found this informative or helpful in any way, please comment, like it, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.